right. Hello and welcome to another Minecraft Musings on the Joker Tower playlist. I'm your host, A-Rye, and this is the giant corkscrew tower. So I started doing that. I think I got it all the way up. This is just one of the new additions. I still got to address the Shack of Shame and make like the Shack of Solutions or the Sanctum of Solutions or something like that. Because that's the point of this isn't just to gripe and complain that I've had bad landlords and I've seen people assault people and not seen it, but like I've seen the fallout of people if they aren't checked. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I need to figure out like how I do want to proceed with a certain person that I don't really want to see him punished anymore now. I just want to make sure that other young ladies aren't getting attacked like they were from this guy. So, anyways, we have a ton of green glass. So I've been kind of doing that. Let's go ahead and fill up this thing because that's the current project is that, but also this glass is useful for just about whatever. It's all lime green. And I was debating on covering the whole thing, which I might still do. I like how it is, like how it's kind of like zigzagged and like it's kind of like a I don't know, more of like an art statement than functionality. Like if this was a real life tower, this would be cool because then you could see like over the glass barrier and see far. But then and you're safe because you're walking up with this kind of like just don't climb up over the railing and jump off of a giant tower. But even like from a logistics standpoint here, you can't run as long as you're not jumping. You can't fall off. Whereas before I added this extra pane of glass here, because I was only having it go to here and put a pane of glass there, but not there. In fact, we can go ahead and show you. You can just fall off. So it's a safety hazard. I don't know. I like it. It's pretty thin though. I wish it was a little wider, like both depth and length, width. So, but I don't know, but I think at like the very top or near the top, I'm going to connect all these towers and have like pathways and stuff. But you have to pick a tower and go all the way up. So like for there, you could shoot up that. I did do some more work on the water elevator over there. I still need to take a bunch of sand over there and well, actually, let's go ahead and go check that out. But let's go ahead and dump all this stuff here. So I have a bunch of lime green glass and torches too. Oh, you know what? I don't think I did torches all the way up, but anyways, let's go check out the water elevator. Actually. And this episode might get stopped abruptly. My kids are on their way over. And now that I live down here, it's a little quicker. So, it's a little quicker for everyone. Excuse me. But as you can see, there's one water block up here that's just not behaving as physics would determine. Like, I don't know why this is still leaking out. It's like there's a water block on the outside here that's connecting to the inside, and this pane. And if you look, there is a piece of glass. Like, I could understand if one of these panes of glass was missing, but I made sure. If you look, there's the two little marks at the top left corner of every pane of glass going up. So there is indeed a piece of glass everywhere. And so there is no reason that this offshoot is happening and penetrating this piece of glass. So, and then once I get that finally figured out, then I'll go ahead and extend it downward and all that. But, yep, and then there's the birch shack, which actually looks pretty cool in the city texture pack. My son hates birch, so we made a joke. Like, I was like, oh, well, here we have a shack of birch. So, oh, and actually, you know what? I just broke a bunch of these so I could put a bunch. I was curious how fast they grow on their own. So what I want to do is I want to make a field of this stuff just 1 unit high and see how long it takes. Or 1 or 2 units. Although they can't go under, well, I guess they could. It doesn't really matter if they go under, it's just, Need to make sure that almost. Okay. Don't die. Don't die. Whew. Okay, I was cutting it close. Oh, and nice. Now we'll see nighttime. So, and then the other thing that I'm working on, you might see in the middle of the heart, it's kind of like the fingers, or it looks like this person's blowing a chef's kiss, but then they're like, they have the fingers like pinched, so there's a heart shape, and in the middle of the heart is my memorial. And unfortunately, I do have. Actually, real quick, let's look at that. You can see, yeah, I didn't do the lights all the way up, but we can worry about that later. For now, I have another addition to the memorial, and it's a sad day. It was my former boss at Noodles and Company that I worked there for a summer when I was in between jobs and loved it. Had a great time. And because of my experience working at Subway and having keys to three different stores, they were like, "Oh, well this guy's got management experience, at fast food, so like we could trust him to, be a little higher paid, a little more responsible." Plus, I was older. It's still like mostly high school kids, teenagers, and or early college kids, especially in that location. Like it was a richer neighborhood, which was interesting that I was living in the richer neighborhood because that's definitely not been the case ever. Well, no, I take that back. When I lived in my mom's basement, we were in a richer, nicer neighborhood, but that was just because she had a nice house. Nothing for me, but yeah, that's okay. I'm fixing that. I finally have a big old house. Not big, and it is ghetto. It's a rental, and like, there's a lot of stuff falling apart with it. But like, now that I can afford a rental house and not a rental condo, I'm moving on up. And next will be home buying. But this is my memorial. So far, this is Chad's house. Chad was one of my buddies. We weren't like super close, but we were friends growing up. I mean, and we were on the same football team, and like we were united for that. I haven't done the roof yet. I'm terrible at roofs, and I honestly don't know how big to make these because it's really just I was gonna like fill it with things that they would have liked in this game. But Chad passed away when we were both 18. It was the summer before I went off to college. I actually went off to the well, no, I actually went off to the Marines. I can't remember when that happened. I went off to the Marines, did like a month there, washed out, came back, and I think that's how it happened. Like I came back from the Marines, worked at a truck stop and did construction, and basically got my own trailer. That's how it happened. That's right. I'm remembering now. So I had my own trailer. I was supposed to rent it with a roommate that backed out, and he bailed on me, so that sucked. But and it was 550 for rent for the whole trailer, but gas alone was like 300 to 400 bucks. So my rent of 550, making 16 an hour, doing construction, real backbreaking work too. I was a framer running around on roofs. Like we didn't, it was one giant big OSHA violation, and that company actually went under because the owner took a bunch of the money and just ran off to the Caymans or Mexico or something, just like bailed, like nope, whatever, I'm gonna go live down there. So, and I'm curious if anybody ever actually like followed, but unfortunately, yeah. So there's Chad, and now my buddy Greg, who I don't even know the full story. This just happened. I just found out about it last night and played some Bloodborne and kind of thought about it a little bit, and it hasn't really hit because like this guy, he was a big supporter of communal and the idea of hippie farms, and he was quite the hippie himself. Although he was unique, he was a Republican hippie, and and they do exist. Like there are, just like a lot of my buddies from back home, they love nature. I mean, but they are totally hardcore. Not even just Republican, but hardcore MAGA, and like, and I don't know. And I'm starting to see what they think, what they see. Doesn't mean I completely agree with it, but I get it how it seems appealing. Like they think that there's this boogeyman out there that makes it to where poor college kids that should go to college on merit aren't able to, yet other people are going just because of their skin color and the woke ideology, which that's a total load of garbage. Like there is, in fact, I'm in the middle of a DEI training right now, and just kind of learning about how I can help, how I can do things, what's helpful, what's not helpful. I was trying to be an advocate back in the day for more women in STEM, and I don't think I was all that helpful. There was even an ACMW meeting that I could have been going to, and I could have listened and asked them and let them tell me what they needed, to support more women in STEM. Like maybe it'd be like one thing I could do really well is safe walks, like on campus. I mean, well, back when I was in college, because if anything, I was an anti-womanizer. I had a roommate that was a total womanizer, like treated them like items, objects, had like multiple going. Granted, I wasn't great. At one time, I had three lady friends at any given time, but they knew about each other. I wasn't trying to hide or conceal anything. I was like, hey, I'm not single, and there are others. That's it. And it didn't last a long time, and I'm okay with that because I would rather it end early. And actually, one of them passed away. That's one of the houses going to go up to my friend Kayla, who we were romantically involved, and she passed away down in Mexico. I don't really know. And actually, it was the dude, the womanizer, that told me about it when I was trying to talk to him. And admittedly, I was going to try to jump him again, but I wasn't really committed to it. I was just like, how can I get back at this guy? Or well, mainly I just wanted to see, did he get in trouble? Because I knew he had assaulted women. I just didn't know how many or if he had actually drugged them. He told me his intent to drug women and rape them, but like I didn't know if he actually did it. And I was actually drunk at I was drinking with some people, and one lady came forward, and as I was telling my story, because they were asking like, what happened? Why were you in jail? And I was like, oh, I got into a fight with so and so. And and like, and it wasn't even the fight. It was because I found out he had been stealing from me. So I started emptying out his room. And basically, I was stealing everything he owned and loaded up my car, kind of like the Grinch stole Christmas. And I took it to a person's house that I didn't really trust, but I didn't really have anywhere else to take it. I just wanted it to be gone and then be safe. And the guy actually started getting rid of it. So I was like, oh, crud. And then I was in jail, so I didn't get a chance to go and get it. I could have just gone and got it, but like somebody had to go to jail because there was a fist fight and it was roommates. And that's the whole domestic violence thing of Colorado is anytime there's physical violence, one of the roommates or one of the people in the house has to go to jail. And that makes sense because if you show up, and in fact, in Breaking Bad, they have a story, and I wonder how many stories are like that in real life, like how they just gave him a warning and then they left him there, and then they end up like, actually killing the other person or doing serious damage, and it could have been prevented, so and so. Like, also, we're waiting for this grass to spread. I thought you used to be able to. Well, actually, let's go ahead and build another house. So I like that. That's kind of. And I wanted them to have a big yard and all that. So I actually extended it out here because I feel like this was too cramped if I was going to start building houses. Like, I guess this is okay. Like, one house here, one house there. Let's go ahead and see if I have the building materials for another house. I need. Wait, there's stairs. We're making them out of oak. Actually, you know what? Even as. No, we don't have any materials for another house. So that's what we'll do. We'll just finish up this one. Actually, I might get a full episode out of this, but they're going to show up any minute. I'm going to have bouncing kiddos around, excited to. And this is even my son's character, that skeleton guy you see up in the corner. This is one of my favorite parts. Wee! Ah! Oh, it still kind of freaks me out, like jumping like that. But that's why I also wanted to make this, is so like you're completely safe up there. If you accidentally fall off, you'll be fine. It's kind of a bad place to harvest trees, but you know what? I see that one there. Oh, and I was gonna surround the heart. You can see the pink of the cherry blossoms has started to spread over there. Oh, and this is where I was harvesting some dirt and slowly regaining back its grassy nature. But yeah, I'm gonna put cherry blossoms all around this floating island that is the memorial to those that have passed away, that have moved on, that are now ancestors. And I actually have a colleague that she made a short film at a film festival about exactly that, like how when people die, they become ancestors. And so that's a good way to explain to a little kiddo, like if their parent died or a family member or a family friend. Um, and she's actually from California, I believe. And out in California, they do have a lot more like gang violence and stuff. Although even as I say that, I have a friend that I worked with. Actually, I was kind of we had some fun together and stuff. I mean, being discreet and everything. But like it was, we went out and had a fish fry, and she showed me this. We went on a, like kind of like a date thing, and she showed me this fish fry in downtown Denver, which like I was like one of the only white people there, and it was funny, but it was great. Like it was delicious. Like everybody seemed to be having a good time, and it seemed almost like an exclusive club, and I kind of feel like I was like But that's the thing. It's just like everybody's just got to take less importance on descriptors. I mean, yes, descriptors are used by law enforcement because as they're tracking somebody down, they need to do this and blah blah blah, and a lot of that is accidental racism where it's like they didn't mean to, but you're trying to describe somebody that did something and you're looking for them, then it's like, okay, well, that a lot of people fit that profile, and you know, I don't know. I feel like we're doing better. And Colorado is actually one of the states that I feel like did the most from Black Lives Matter. Like, I mean, Black Lives Matter, the message, I totally agree. Like, all of that, like the raising the awareness that this is still going on, that, this kid, Elijah, basically was accidentally executed just for walking down the street while black at night. It was his neighborhood. Like, he normally felt fine there, like and safe, but well, I don't know about safe. I think it was still kind of a rough neighborhood, but still, it was just like he was just walking home from something, not on any drugs, not dealing anything, not stealing, not breaking into places, just walking home. And he freaked out because any interaction with the police is scary. I don't care who you are. And I know we've talked about it here before, but like being pulled over while white versus any other color or just darker skin, it's gonna have a bad time. Like, I mean, there's just such a higher chance of risk. Like, even if neither of the people intend for it, like it's just a potential because there's so much hype around it. There's so much history around it. There's so much I mean, just awareness. So no, no. And as we end the war on drugs, I think a lot of that. I'm not saying that every non-white person uses drugs. It's just up until now, the majority of people are afraid because they either have weed in the car, or they were smoking a little while ago, or maybe they have some in their system, and because we don't really have good ways to test for it, there's a good chance that you'll test positive. Like, oh, you have weed in your system, even if you hadn't smoked even that day. Like, it can stay up in your system around like a month. Like, if you smoke pretty heavily, like you could have to wait a month until it comes out. And that's the other downside to the war on drugs is like we put everybody on probation and jail them for this stuff, and then we tell them, okay, now you can't do this. And it's like drinking. Okay, that's for one. It's easy to get away with drinking. There's only a 3-day half-life, as it were, where it stays in your system. It's not really a half-life, but that's kind of like there's a 3-day residual timer. Ooh, that's dangerous. So let's go see. I think as we move far enough away from each of these trees, they'll stop dropping the stuff. But anyways, just wanted to get on like MAGA and all that and Trump's speeches. And I liked a lot of what Trump said, but that's because you're supposed to. And then I listened to the fact checking afterwards, and I don't know if I actually started talking about this, but anyways, his on this playlist, I think I did on another one, but he did a really good speech. It was phenomenal. It makes people feel like amazing. And if you had no former knowledge of this person, and if you were coming into there fresh without any idea of who Trump was, you'd probably be like, wow, this guy is doing some really cool things. And oh my gosh, I can't believe there's that much fraud and and corruption and all this, and let's drain that swamp. When the reality of it is there's a lot less than what is advertised. And the fraud that they are finding, a lot of times, well, let's get specifics with the fact check. So, like, almost every figure of money and stuff that's been spent was exaggerated. Was basically from what Trump was trying to say. Like, he said it was like 350 billion that we've given to Ukraine, when the real figure was closer to 125 billion. So less than half of what he said. So he over doubled it, like lied by 200+%. Like, it's not, and then we gave this much money. And then he was saying that our European allies only dedicated so much money. That was fact checked to be false, that our European allies in NATO, which we're not even in NATO anymore, and we'll talk about that in a sec, but like they contributed or donated like more than us. So really, I think the figures were reversed. Like, we were 125,000, and then everyone else was like 350,000 or something like that. And so, but let's back up a little bit. So Ukraine and Russia, to me, and maybe it's because I don't have all the facts. Maybe I'm missing something. But if maybe from an outsider's perspective looking in, I feel like Ukraine is nothing more than a different flavor of Cuban Missile Crisis. Like, we freaked out when Russia wanted to put missiles in Cuba. They wanted to be able to reach us and say, hey, You can't keep pushing us around because we now have missiles close enough. Let's try to keep you in check. Like they wanted some kind of assurance or control that America wouldn't go rogue and turn into the next Hitler. And I can respect that. Like people seem to forget that during World War II, Russia and the US worked together to end the Nazi like regime. Like that was where the world came together and said, "No, this can't happen." Like the deaths of millions of Jewish people, tens of millions, I want to say, maybe even 100, I don't know. I'd have to look at the facts, but too many people. When you think about COVID, took about 500,000, maybe it broke a million, and then, the Iraq War took 500,000 civilians, but that's just 500,000. Still a lot, still unacceptable, but half of one versus multiple and even tens of millions. Like that's how bad World War II was, and so I get it, and that kind of spills into how we're talking about um, Russia getting their own, or not Russia, sorry, Israel getting their own country, and like giving back their country to that. Like, and I don't know. I'm definitely an outsider on all that perspective, and like I've seen some of the stuff that supposedly is happening to the Palestinians, and how Palestinian basically shrank and disappeared to make Israel. All of that seems kind of messed up to me, but I don't know. But then again, same with like Trump was saying that he's going to take over Gaza and make it into like a resort. I don't understand that. Like, I think we should. That'd be cool if it's a resort for the Gazan people and the Palestinians, but honestly, I don't think it is. I think he's basically talking about buying the land, kicking everybody out, and then making it a resort for Israel. Like, not only are they like pushing people that have lived there for a long time out of there, like it just doesn't make sense. And I feel like that seems to be more what's going on. Like, and it's kind of bizarre that he would put out a video, and I saw the video. It was like, welcome to these beaches and all this, and everything's gold and it's all fancy, and like, I don't, it's confusing. So I'd like to hear like what that is and have him explain it, and then have people critique it, basically fact check. Oh, I will say this though. One of the fact checks was fact checked again. The transgender mice. Someone was saying they meant transgenic, and that's how we study mice and stuff. While this is true, there are transgenic experiments with mice. There are also transgender experiments with mice, and somebody responded to my post on XApp with an article that fact checked the fact check. And I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. Like this is the first I've seen a fact check get fact checked, or maybe not the first, but the first that I can think of offhand. I was like, we need more of this, like, because fact checking is important, but we need to make sure that it's actually accurate and that it's kind of like the blue book that we Coloradans get every election. They give out it's literally a blue book of the pros and cons of any decision that's being voted on or anything. And it says the argument for, the argument against, like why would you vote for this or why should you not vote for it, et cetera, et cetera. And like, and that, it's just really helpful because there are two sides to every story. And the problem with echo chambers is you only get one side to every story. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. That's why I love that Elon bought Twitter and changed it to XApp, because he forced people outside of their echo chambers. He made it to where people had to interact with the quote unquote other side, whom they had little understanding or familiarity with. Um, Sorry, actually, hold on a second. I also don't have a doorbell, so I gotta kind of keep an ear out. With these headphones, it might be a little hard, but all right. So we've got 41 logs. I think that's just enough to make another house. I think that's 10 logs high, but we'll see. There we go. There's some more saplings. So I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing, is I actually do support transgender investigation and science experiments and stuff. Like Trinidad, I'm pretty sure that's where the whole thing started, is here in Colorado. Mm. But as is, a lot of the transgender stuff is mostly cosmetic. I mean, they've started with hormone therapy and testosterone, and I've seen females, like born females or cis females, I guess, have facial hair. I'm like, whoa, okay, so they can have probably better than mine. Like, we're like, all right, cool. So we got that part. Um, and then, like they won't be completely transgender until they can either have babies or impregnate the other or something like that. Like, I mean, the remaining things, like the functionality. And I honestly believe that's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to make it to where not only is it effective, but it actually looks good and like it works. And don't get me wrong, like there are a lot of like quote unquote passable or even just attractive like men turned women. I mean, and then I don't know, I don't really find men attractive, but like they're definitely like what I would say is passable. Like I've seen born cis females look just like men. I'm like, whoa, like if you didn't tell me, I would think that was a dude. And I wouldn't care. Let him go on living his life. And I think, and then that's the big misunderstanding with like, no transgenders and women's, no men in women's bathrooms. And there's like this whole, they're all up in arms about that. And I get it if it's like just a dude that's wearing a wig going into a woman's bathroom. That's not okay. However, a lot of these people are a little more dedicated than just putting on a wig. Like they're actually taking, you know, hormones and they're, had surgeries and altered like all these things. And that's not like, they're not a toe in the water like testing it out. They are committed. And as such, I don't know. It's like a boogeyman. Like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen to your daughter in the bathroom when some guy in a wig comes in and tries to use it and he's going to assault her and women aren't safe and this and that. And I get it. Ooh. And any people that would make someone unsafe in a bathroom needs to be punished severely. However, I believe it's a boogeyman. Oh, the lightning's kind of scary in this game. It's on peaceful, so I don't think I can die, but we'll see. At least if I die here, it's pretty easy to find my stuff. Not really having a lot of luck with growing new trees, though. I should have grabbed some bone meal. I mean, I've got a ton planted now. But I think I can only build one more house. And that's fine. I might actually work on this when I have my kiddos, because like we now have like multiple devices. We can all play online together, which is awesome. We haven't tried it yet. We've got 3 machines with Fortnite. I actually installed Fortnite on our Switch, which it's kind of intense. Like Fortnite's a massive game, and the Switch doesn't have a lot of memory. At least ours doesn't have it yet. I think there are like, I think I've got like a 64 gigabyte flash or micro SD card in there, which is awesome because that's what they take is the micro SD. But actually, yeah, let's go ahead and I kind of planted everything over there. Oh, every time I hear lightning in this game, it reminds me of that nightmare I had where God was trying to kill me. And I believed it too. I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did. And got this face in the clouds. It's just, it could have been Zeus. It could have been the Christian God. It could have been, any number of like different representations, but just some dude in the, or even the Monty Python, version of God that's like, of course it's a good idea. I thought of it. Like, and stuff like that. Good idea, oh Lord. Of course it's a good idea. There's still a block of wood in here. It's gotta be because this thing has been taking too long to break down. There it is. 2 blocks. Oh, there you go. Now I saw one. When you start seeing the leaf blocks disappear after you cut a piece of wood, that's when you know, and it almost always happens like right away. Oh, hold on. I feel like a tweaker looking out the blinds for a car. Ugh. Wow. Maybe there's still another block. Because I feel like that's still not deteriorating as rapidly as one would expect. Or maybe not. Maybe that is deteriorating. Okay. Well, either way. So, and I think social media as is good because it allows a lot of people, specifically XApp is what I'm thinking, but it allows people to Actually, what I should do, let's go reclaim some of those saplings and put them. Also, I need to be careful. Like this, I feel like any wrong step is potential death through here, but let's put some saplings on the actual memorial floating island, and then that way we just grow the wood locally. That makes more sense. Just get like 5 maybe. And no other, I was gonna say, did any of the other ones pop up yet? Not really. Oh, well, there's the alarm. So looks like we got in a full episode, but that's basically what I'm gonna work towards in this world is I'm gonna make like a, not necessarily a Trump tower, but like a clarity tower. And then, oh, actually, real quick, I'll show you the, I don't know if I've done this on the Joker Tower videos yet, but, or the playlist, but I want to show you the water elevator that I made. It's right over here. And then we'll call it a day. So I gotta get ready for the chillins. We're gonna have a good Saturday. But basically, we're at the point where like the country is so divided that we need some clarity. We need some understanding of like what is really going on, like who's really telling the truth, or what is the truth. Um, just like Al Green, the Texas senator that got kicked out during Trump's speech, he says it was because he was black, and it's like, no, I get it. You got kicked out because you were, oh, I thought I was dying. I was getting hurt from the thing, but it was choking. Anyways, he got kicked out because he didn't sit down and be quiet. I get it. I don't think it was because he was black, but he's claiming that it's because he is black. Granted, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert used to howl like howler monkeys during President Biden's speeches. So President Trump getting interrupted by somebody, President Biden getting interrupted, it's all the same thing. Like, there is no race thing. It's just like privilege. And Biden didn't kick out the hecklers in his speech. Just let them there. Anyways, ta-ta for now. See you in the next one.